My name is Christina Iptoma, and I'm the Director of Scientific Programs at MIB Agents Osteosarcoma Alliance. MIB Agents is a leading pediatric osteosarcoma nonprofit dedicated to making it better for our community of patients, families, and medical professionals, researchers, and industry partners through programs, education, and research. We are devoted to creating and instilling hope with and for our inclusive and collaborative osteosarcoma community. And we do this through mutual trust, transparency, and compassion. To support this mission, we have an annual research grant program called OutSmarting Osteosarcoma. And through this program, our goals are to support research, support the career development of young investigators pursuing a career in osteosarcoma research, and to connect the patient and scientific communities. Our 2026 grant cycle will be opening at the end of September, and so we wanted to provide an overview of the OutSmarting program and encourage any researchers working on osteosarcoma studies to apply. This short overview will cover some background on the OutSmarting Osteosarcoma Grant Program, some details about the application process, some highlights about our review process, which we'd like to be very transparent about, requirements post-award, and the 2026 grant cycle timeline. And everything in this overview is covered in detail in our 2026 OutSmarting Osteosarcoma Program guidelines, which are available for download on our website. First, some background on our research grant program. Launched in 2017 and powered by the MIB Agents Family Funds, the OutSmarting Osteosarcoma Research Grant has fueled discovery by awarding $2.5 million to 32 dedicated investigators working to advance osteosarcoma research. Collaboration among the scientific and patient communities is a key hallmark of MIB Agents, and our grants are supported by MIB Agents Family Funds, osteosarcoma patients and families who raise funds in honor of an osteo warrior or an osteo angel. Their dedication to making it better and fostering collaboration and education in the scientific community makes every MIB Agents Award incredibly meaningful. Our goal with this research grant program is to have the process itself be meaningful. We integrate both scientific rigor and patient voice into our grant process. We have a highly accomplished panel of peer reviewers, and we also include stakeholder reviewers who represent patient voice into the review process, and I'll talk about that further. Other goals within the scientific community include fostering young talent to focus careers on osteosarcoma, creating a collaborative educational forum with our peer review process, and also to facilitate future funding. We provide applicants with a summary of constructive critiques to help further improve their study proposal. Goals on the patient community side include giving patient families a way to honor their osteo warrior or angel, to provide donor accountability, and to engage the patient community to support and power research. And through this process, we create a true partnership between the scientific and patient communities in how research is funded. To have the most immediate impact on patient care, MIB Agents funding priorities are late-stage translational research that may lead to clinical benefit or clinical trial in less than 5 years, studies with promising preclinical data that have a specific funding need to move forward to clinical trial, specific funding gaps in clinical research. Examples include correlative studies associated with and/or prior to an already funded clinical trial, and lastly, projects that facilitate and enhance collaboration and shared learnings. We have 8 focus areas noted here, and they cover almost everything except supportive care and survivorship. These focus areas include children, adolescent, and young adults, decreasing toxicities, immunotherapies, molecularly targeted therapies, precision medicine, systemic therapy combinations, preventing metastasis, and treating recurrent disease. We have 2 funding mechanisms, a $100,000 HERO Award and a $50,000 HOPE Award for young investigators, and both of these are for a 1-year period. As I mentioned, the grant program started in 2017, and for the first 5 years, we funded one $100,000 award each year. And since that program launched in 2017, we funded $2.5 million in osteosarcoma research, supporting 32 studies. In 2022, we added young investigator grants, which you can see here are highlighted with the yellow circles. And since then, we've been able to award multiple grants each year. Of the 32 total awards, 14 of those have supported young investigators. And to date, 4 of these grants have been funded in partnership with another foundation. Donor accountability is a key part of our outsmarting program, and we are proud to share that the investment we've made to date in research has had an impact far beyond the initial studies that were funded, with 145 presentations sharing findings with the scientific community, 17 publications disseminating findings into the public domain, 7 clinical trials opened, and 17 million secured in additional osteosarcoma research funding. Moving on to a little bit about our application process. Here are some details around eligibility, first for the PI and then for the type of work that can be funded. For the PI, a legal U.S. or Canadian resident engaged by an institution located in the U.S. or Canada for the duration of the grant period. I'd like to point out that 2026 will be the first grant cycle where we're opening up eligibility to Canada. The PI has to be at a nonprofit academic institution, only one application per PI as a lead investigator in an award year, and no application limit per institution. For the proposed study, funding cannot overlap any funded studies, and proposals may be for a new or ongoing initiative. There are specific eligibility criteria for the 2 different award mechanisms. For both MD, DO, DVM, and/or PhD degrees may apply. For the $100,000 HERO Award, the principal investigator must be an independent investigator with experience in translational research. Academic ranks of assistant professor, associate professor, or professor may apply. And for the $50,000 Young Investigator Hope Award, applicants must be within 5 years post-fellowship at the time of application due date of Jan 25th, 2026, with experience in translational research. Academic rank may not exceed assistant professor. Letters of intent can be submitted online at Proposal Central. The submission period will open on September 24th and closes on October 24th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can see the different sections of the letter intent form, and most are just standard quick fill-in-the-blank fields. The meat of the LOI is the project summary, which includes a mission statement, max 500 characters, a research summary, max 4,000 characters. And in the research summary, we ask that you state the need or issue that you're addressing, provide a brief rationale for the proposed study, state the research objectives and aims, summarize the proposed research design and methods, discuss the expected outcomes you hope to achieve, and describe how the study will advance the field of osteosarcoma research and lead to novel therapeutic strategies or significant improvements in patient outcomes versus existing therapies. And for young investigators, an academic mentoring plan, max 2,000 characters. 2 attachments are required with the LOI, a bibliography and a PI sketch. YI applicants are also required to attach the mentor bio sketch and a mentor letter of recommendation. Optional attachments include 1-page maximum of figures, graphs, and/or a letter of support from a pharmaceutical company if relevant. Letters of intent will be peer-reviewed, and then approved LOI submissions will be invited in early December to submit a full application in Proposal Central by the January 25th, 2026 deadline. Invited applications must reflect the same project described in the approved LOI. In the scientific abstract for the full application, we ask that you address 6 topics with a max of 3 pages of text and a max of 2 pages of images. First, describe the PI's background and experience in osteosarcoma research. Second, state the hypotheses or study questions and overall objectives to be reached. Third, provide background and rationale. Fourth, state the specific aims of the study that will address the study objectives and questions. Fifth, describe the research strategy. And lastly, 6, discuss the significance and impact. Now a bit about our review process. We have a 3-tier review process, and we want to be very transparent about this process. The first tier is a letter of intent peer review. Peer reviewers review LOIs for impact, innovation, and translational potential. This stage of review determines which applicants will be invited to submit a full application. The second tier is full application review. And during this stage, peer reviewers evaluate the applications on individual scientific merit, scoring on the 5 NIH criteria, and stakeholder reviewers are family funds who have raised $5,000 or more towards our research program in the previous year. They critique and score applications solely on patient impact, which is something that they are experts in. And as a result of both the peer and stakeholder review process, we determine which applications are eligible to fund based on scientific review scores. The third and final tier is programmatic review. This is where proposals are evaluated on relative merit and how well they meet the mission. Programmatic review is done by our Research Advisory Committee, which is comprised of our MIB leadership team, our Family Fund Advisory Council, and our Junior Advisory Board President and VP, the latter two representing patient voice. We determine allocation based on our research budget in any given year, and the scientific review scores and ranking really drive that decision. Also, if we have family funds or partner foundations who are funding an entire grant, they may also note their funding preferences for any eligible applications that have met our funding threshold. We ask our peer reviewers to critique and score on the 5 NIH criteria that you are all probably very familiar with. And just a quick note about requirements post-award. So the grant start date is July 1st, 2026, and halfway through we ask for a written progress report and budget report. In some cases, we may arrange for a 6-month lab visit and in-person update, or a virtual Zoom update, which usually happens in January. We then ask that the PI present the study progress and results to date at our Factor conference, which is going to be in late June 2027, and submit a 13-month written report and budget report at the end of the grant period. I've thrown lots of dates around in the previous slides, so I just want to summarize them for easy reference. The LOI submission period will open on September 24th. LOIs are due October 24th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Approved LOIs will be invited to submit a full application by early December, and then the full applications are due in Proposal Central January 25th, 2026. Recipients will then be notified at the end of May 2026, and the award presentation will be at Factor 2026, June 25th to 27th in Columbus, Ohio. The award start date is July 1st, 2026. Thank you so much for your interest in outsmarting osteosarcoma, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me at christina@mibagents.org. You can also scan the QR code for more information on our website and for the link to the program guidelines and application. You can also find these links in the description below, and we hope you apply for our 2026 grant cycle, and we look forward to reviewing your application. Thank you so much.